Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm for Classic and welcome to BenchART. So I'm here again with SWFT, and I just want to point out that Marcos Aurelius 3614 pointed out that something was wrong with my results. So apparently other YouTubers had used FSR instead of TSR for their benchmarks, and I did use TSR, okay? And yeah, there was a great difference in performance. So let me just show you what I mean by this. So I'm here in the main menu of the game on the graphical settings, and I will be just putting the game on its maximum settings, and I'm using FSR Quality here at the moment. And let me just display to you the frame rates that I'm using, and let me get back to the game, and I'm having like 105 frames per second using FSR on its quality mode. But if I change to TSR, which was what I was using before, I'm having 64 frames per second. So it means for some reason TSR it's almost cutting the performance in half. It's not exactly the half of the what I'm getting at with FSR, but definitely either something must be wrong with TSR. Either it's upscaling from a higher resolution than FSR, or their implementation it is broken at the moment on the PC version. So since my results from the previous video was with TSR, I'm just going to label it like a Silent Hill F quick performance test with TSR, and now I decide to release this one with FSR just to have an idea how it does perform. So I'm just going to skip the cutscene because you already seen these 1,000 times on the other video. And so with 1080p using maximum settings in here and using FSR on its quality mode, given that non-TSR or non-FSR, there is no FSR option or TSR option for native resolution. So using FSR on its quality mode will provide essentially a frame rate above than 60 with ease. Of course, there are these shader compilation issues that happens from time to time. Just remember that throughout all the settings that I did tried out, I clean up the shader cache, so it's normal that I have more stuttering than other YouTubers that don't clean them. And one of those stutters, it is really that big stutter that put the game with the 1% values of 2 frames per second. Okay, but essentially, and being very quick in here, I want to be more quicker than the previous video. With FSR and 1080p with the maximum settings, you can expect a performance above than 60, and that's about it. So 1440p balanced, which is a pretty much high settings in here, and using FSR on its balanced mode, just like it was pointed out by Marcos Aurelius in here. In fact, I will be using FSR Quality. Okay, I'm not going to use FSR Balanced like Marcos Aurelius was pointing out. I will be using Quality this time around. Let me just remove the FPS cap, and the frame rate, it is just insane. I'm getting above 60 frames per second all the time, aside from those stutter moments or the moments where I am CPU bottlenecked because of the PSO compilation in the background. Alright, that happens from time to time. So my performance, it is just excellent, as pointed out by Marcos Aurelius, that I've seen in other GPUs more weaker than mine using the same settings. So you really said that something was wrong, and definitely it was. Well, I wasn't exactly wrong to say. It's just that TSR is, yeah, it's incredibly more demanding. I'm not going to deny that TSR, it is superior than FSR 3 in here. Without a doubt, it is superior, but I mean, it doesn't worth the big cut in frame rate that I have. I have other users pointing out that the superior way it is to mod up the game and replace the FSR 3 for FSR 4. Of course, that have a cost, since we would be performing FSR 4 in unsupported GPU by using int 8 for doing the FSR 4, so it's not the same regarding quality, and it's not the same when it comes to the performance as using it natively on the new Radeon GPUs. But definitely it is a good option to compare to TSR, given that TSR is really incredible demanding for some reason in this game. Hopefully they will fix this, or they will tone it down a little bit. because I mean it's insane how much TSR it is demanding. Because as you can see, with 1440p balanced and using FSR in its quality mode, it's just super smooth above the 60, aside from the typical Unreal Engine stutters. So let me just show you how it does run in maximum settings with FSR in quality mode too. So with quality, which is pretty much maximum settings in here, as you can see, very high, and using FSR on its quality mode should provide an experience above than 60 for the most part, but you can expect a drop here and there below than 60. So if you don't care about having a little bit of some frame rate that does drop below 60, or if you have a variable refresh rate screen like a FreeSync screen, I think this is the correct option. You can just go with 1440p, max out the game, and put the game using FSR quality and enjoy a very, very good experience in that sense. Okay, when it's something that with TSR the performance was considerably lower for some reason. Alright, let's just skip the cutscene and let me just show you this quick fight over here. As you can see, performance it is overall above than 60, but it's really on the red line and nearly dropping below than that. So there will be moments that it will drop for sure. It depends on the scenarios. I'm not sure what you can find more forward into the game in this game. So yeah, it is to be expected that it will drop eventually below than 60. So I do recommend FreeSync screen for this setting. Now let's finish this with 4K, this time around 4K, using the performance settings, which is pretty much median settings with a couple of things on high, like VM distance, and using FSR on its performance mode. The experience that I did got, it was again a very good experience above than 60, no drops below than that, so it's pretty good. Okay, it's really my recommendation if you go with 4K. Alright, so I will hold on a little bit for you to enjoy a little bit of the frame rate that I'm having in here with 4K performance. One interesting thing that I'm thinking about is that I do think that the console versions do use TSR, given that their internal resolution it is pretty low. On PS5, for example, the internal resolution can really drop to very low levels of resolution to sustain, for example, the 60 frames per second, and they probably are using TSR instead of FSR. Okay, I really mean there is really something wrong with TSR. Usually, there are some games which TSR it is more demanding than FSR or DLSS or any other option. But most of the games, TSR, it's just have the same performance as FSR and DLSS. But in this game, it's just something that I've never seen before. Okay, that's the weird part about it. Let me just kill this monster over here, and we will be moving on to my typical split screen with different settings for you to check it out. Okay, yeah, I did defeated, so it's time to move on. Okay, let's finish this. This time around, on the left, we have 4K balance, which is essentially high settings. Using FSR for the small, just like the previous setting. And this is a very good setting if you want to play with the FreeSync screen. It stays mostly above than 60, but it can drop it up there. Okay, that's the thing. And on the right, what I do have, it is 4K maximum settings, but using FSR on balanced. So the experience it is overall above than 45. It might be a good experience with a FreeSync screen, but I'm not really sure if it can hold on to different environments, probably more demanding environments. It might drop to 40 or even below. So it's hard for me to come in here and say something like, yeah, use this if you have a FreeSync screen, because I'm not really sure how it will perform in different environments, like I said. So it's a good setting for locking down to 30 or 40 or something like that, but I'm not so sure if it is a setting that will hold on in a FreeSync screen. So my recommendation for FreeSync screen users, just use 4K balance with FSR performance. And if you want to lock to with something like 40 frames per second or 30 frames per second or something like that, try 4K maximum settings with FSR on balanced mode. So I think that's all that I want to talk about Silent Hill half. Hope you did enjoy this newer video, this time with FSR instead of DSR. Very big thanks to Marcos, our reviews. I was a little bit skeptical because the videos that he pointed out, the guys were trying in different parts of the weapon, so I thought that was the reason for the performance difference. But then when I got home after work, I just tried out with FSR, and yes, there was this big difference. So thank you a lot for watching. Thank you, Marcos, for this, and I do hope to see you all soon. Goodbye.